diagnosed with panic disorder. She had been diagnosed with panic disorder. She wasn't taking her medication. She was out of town. And she had called the police on this particular day, March 5th, 2015, and she'd asked them to come to the house. I'd actually taken the afternoon off. I was at home with my sons, playing in the playroom with them. And she asked them to come to the house and said that I was confused. And the dispatch said, we can't go to the house if he's confused. She said, well, what do you need to hear? And they said, we need to hear he's a threat to himself or the children. And then allegedly sometime later, I think 45 seconds later, she called them back and said, she said, my husband's just told me, quote, I'm sick of this shit. I'm gonna harm the children, end quote. And those 10 words, that 10-word lie was the basis of law enforcement coming. First it was 2 to my front door, then it was 3, then it was 5 and a sergeant, and the massing garrison, the threshold of my home, without cause, without a warrant.
And then going through a divorce like that, I've seen people, like you say, just broken.
They get wrecked. And it's the system. The reason why the divorce laws are set up the way they're set up, people think, oh, we're protecting women. Horseshit. They're doing it so that they can extract the maximum amount of money out of the male. That way, the lawyer gets the biggest chunk that they could possibly get. Most lawyers have they're working on a percentage basis,
right?
Especially if a woman doesn't have as much money, or if she's, the lawyer will come to her, look, we've got a deal here. We'll figure this out. Don't pay me now. We're going to make sure we get you the most. We'll take care of it all in the end. And this is what has happened to several of my friends that have been divorced. And
Hello, my darlings. Hello. I just wanted to quickly introduce today's segment with those 2 clips as I've been watching, and these are by the way not some kooky leftists or kooky men's rights activists. This is Joe Rogan, Bill Maher, and the other gentleman is actually an actor who was interviewed by Jordan Peterson. Actually, I can maybe give you his intro that Jordan Peterson gives of who that gentleman is.
Greg Ellis. Hello everyone, I'm here today with Mr. Greg Ellis, a best-selling author, TV director, Annie Award-nominated voice artist, and Emmy Award-nominated actor. He's appeared in Oscar-winning movies, directed Hollywood superstars, produced and written television shows, starred in Broadway musicals, and voiced animated characters for movies, television series, cartoons, and more than 120 video games. His major motion picture
So as you can see, this gentleman, he's a well-accomplished individual. He's made quite a successful life, financially very, very successful, and he built the best life that he knew he could for him and his family. So this was not some kooky, crazy, loony sort of loser guy. These are accomplished, successful people. The same with Joe Rogan's friends. These are, I'm sure, extremely successful people. These are not just your run-of-the-mill loser guys. So when we talk about men's rights activism and men's rights sort of challenges towards getting better divorce court settlements, or just generally having divorce courts deal with men in a better way, and not only divorce courts, of course, social services, child services, child visitation rights, all of those things. And I'm gonna post the link for this Jordan Peterson interview actually in this. I should have put it in the actual description, but I'll post it in the chat here, and then I'll try and post it in the description afterwards, just so you guys can go and actually look at this interview, because it is well worth listening to this individual. This man can tell you what it's like to go through the divorce courts. This in his case in particular is in Britain. So because a lot of my audiences at this time are British, you can see what the British system actually, the ringer it takes you through. Not to mention, because we hear a lot about the American divorce courts and the American system, but Britain is no better, believe you me. Britain is just as devastating and brutal when it comes to the divorce courts, and how they treat men. So, and that's why I titled this video "Why Men Need to Go MGTOW." In all honesty, I think men, as a collective, especially with this day and age, with this kind of technologies that are available to us in order to pass these messages on to especially younger men, because if you're of a senior age, then you've either navigated through life reasonably unscathed by these things and the horrors that some women can bring upon men, or you've found you either got married and divorced and you've experienced these nightmarish situations, or you're in a very good stable relationship and you maybe got lucky and found that unicorn. But for the vast majority of men, especially young men, we need to inform them that they effectively, I think men should go on a form of protest, which is what MGTOW is. MGTOW is not only a strategy, a system of navigating through modern day life with modern day feminism, but it is a form of protest. The men are walking off the plantation. They are no longer cooperating with a system that is geared to destroy them, that gives every possible advantage to a woman in a divorce situation and nothing but devastation and misery for the man. That's why men commit suicide at such high rates. A lot of it comes out of this situation of it comes out of sort of going through some sort of divorce. A woman can literally say anything, which his wife did. His wife literally, the police said, unless he's a harm to himself or the children, then we can't do anything. Then she calls back 45 seconds later saying, yes, he's going to harm the children. A clear, bold-faced lie. But this man was dragged away in handcuffs because of that. Because of that one lie, this man's life was turned upside down, and he was put in handcuffs and pulled and dragged into a car and drove away from his home. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable, utterly unacceptable. But that is the maze. That is the gamble that you take. It is, I would say, modern day marriage and divorce is no more akin to Russian roulette. There is a bullet, and I would say actually there isn't just single one out of 6 chances of you blowing your brains out. Probably about, because divorces are around 50% plus. I forgot the exact number now, but I think they're actually over 50%. So you're in fact looking at 3 bullets in a gun if you're playing Russian roulette. That's what you're really dealing with when it comes to divorce, marriage. You're dealing with a 50-50 chance of your life getting severely fucked over. I mean, to the extent that, as I say, most men commit suicide because of it. So this is not a joke. This is deadly serious for many men's lives, and I think young men in particular have to because they're the ones coming up. As I said, if you're already in your 40s and plus, then you may have already managed to get out of this nightmare, or you may have actually escaped this nightmare. But if you're in your 20s, if you're in your early 30s, you are smack bang in the middle of this target demographic of men who are expected to get married, are pressured to get married, are literally pushed by family and friends and everyone and everything in society to get married, especially shaming tactics. The shaming tactics in society are unbelievable. Oh, it's Valentine's Day. Do you have a girlfriend? Are you married? How old are you? Oh, you this? Do you have a girlfriend? Are you engaged? All of the fucking trappings of society is constantly pressing you, and of course, then there's the other side of the patriotic nationalist types who say, oh, you have to get married and have children because the demographics and all these foreigners are coming in. So yeah, why aren't you getting married and having children? Because if you don't, then your entire race is at stake. They are literally threatening you with the extinction of your race in order for you to get married and put yourself through this system. any nationalist, any patriot that tells you, anyone who thinks that your white race or whichever demographic you belong to tells you that your entire race's existence is on the line and you should get married, the first thing you should be telling them as a man is, what the fuck are you doing about divorce courts? When you change this divorce system, then I'll think about it. Because you as a single man, you're playing Russian roulette with half the chambers full of bullets, is what you're actually doing in this day and age. I know it sounds hyperbolic, it sounds exaggerated, but go and watch this man's story. Listen to this man's story and listen to the nightmare scenario that this man went through. And this is in store for every man whose wife decides to turn shit on them. And you never know at what point that woman is going to do this to you. You are not guaranteed anything. Doesn't matter if you found the best, the most amazing woman on the planet, that she is just a unicorn. There is no way she could do this to me. She will do that to you. Down the road, 5, 10, 12, 15 years, she will do it to you. It has been done. I have seen it been done. I have witnessed it in front of my eyes, men crushed by that shit. So, you're rolling the dice. It's up to you, but and I said, everything in the society is pressuring you to do that. Everything is pressuring you. There's every day, every moment. After a certain age, you kind of become immune to it. You can deal with it better, and you can sort of obfuscate or just simply what's it called? You can always bypass or just ignore the questions that people throw at you. Questions of hey, what's up, Captain? You can throw you can always sort of disregard the do you have a girlfriend? Are you married? Oh, you're not married. Why aren't you married? All that crap. I've had literally people push me towards women to try to hook me up with women that, I'll be honest, I'm not that particularly interested in. Don't get me wrong, there is this beast, and this is the next part of my comments, is there is a beast that lives between every man's leg, which is an uncontrollable monster. Yeah, it's an uncontrollable monster that constantly is telling you to screw something. Do it, have it. Do it. Screw it. Don't worry. Fuck it. Just fuck it now. We'll worry about it later. Exit strategy. Forget about it. Don't worry. We'll figure it out afterwards. Just stick it in there now. And this monster doesn't stop. It doesn't really quell, even with age. It doesn't. Your hormone, your chemicals, your biochemical chemistry does alter as you age, but even with drop in testosterone in your later lives, I don't know. Maybe when I hit 70, 80, I don't know. But right now, the beast is wide awake within me. The hormone monster is raging all the time, and it's a daily battle to try to quell this animal and to try to keep it reined in. Because it is uncontrollable, and it does push you constantly towards this towards women, towards having to constantly wanting to get into some sort of god-awful relationship that you yourself know that you don't really want, that you don't even need, but you need to have sex. And I'll be honest, this is the thing. This is where, when the sex robots arrive, and believe me, the sex robots will arrive. Any man who thinks, or anyone who thinks the sex robots, I will promise you this, the feminists will try to make it illegal. The feminists will literally fight to make it illegal to own sex robots. But the sex robots will come, and they will be here with us. And when they do, women are fucked. Because all those men who go down the sewers, who go and bricklay to bring buildings up to make all this comfortable, cushy life for women in order to make women happy, yeah, those fuckers are gonna stop. Because when the sex robots come, they'll be happy on a minimum wage fucking money. They're not going to need that flashy car. You'll be surprised how little men can go with as long as they can get regular sex. Most of the shit that most men do, and I know it sounds, again, hyperbolic and crazy, but most, I would say at least in the 90 percentile of men's motivation towards doing anything and building anything is because they want to get that piece of ass. Why do men strive to be millionaires? Because they can buy expensive cars so that they can go pick up women with the cool looking cars, so they can have an expensive house or a flat or swimming pools so that they can get women to swim in those pools and so they can fuck those women. It all boils down to a pound of pussy. It all boils down to everything you see around you. Every building, every plane, every car, everything that has ever been made is because a man was trying to get into a woman's underwear and he thought this would be a cool thing to build in order to get attracted to it. This is why birds build nests. This is why different animals build elaborate nests in order to attract the best woman. In order to attract, even fishes fucking do it. There's this fish that I was watching a documentary that did this amazing elaborate sand sculpture on the seabed, which looked unbelievably complex, just to get a piece of ass. And when sex robots come, most of the men are not going to bother with that. They'll work at fucking McDonald's and they'll just live happily fucking their Forever 21 sex robot. And yes, their sex robot won't have periods, they won't get old, they won't have bad moods, they won't get saggy breasts, they don't need plastic surgery. I mean, they're all plastic all over. But yeah, they're not going to need all the, and they're not going to, get fucking fall apart with age. Unlike 99% of women, in fact, 100% of women. Women are going to fall apart, and that 21-year-old or 20-year-old gorgeous beauty that you married or you got involved with is going to become a cranky old fucking hag. That's what happens. They're a diminishing investment. But of course, they convinced men for a long time. Oh, it's not just it's not just sex and beauty, it's companionship. It's the fact that this woman is going to be the mother of your children. Well, guess what? There'll also be birthing chambers or artificial wombs. That's coming as well, by the way. That's down the line. I mean, look at your average incubator now. It's just simply going to become more and more sophisticated until the point where they can literally grow children in pods. Matrix style or Superman. If you go and look at Superman, Man of Steel, they had them already there. Centralized birthing system. To tell you the truth, I think that's what's coming. And there you go, Jord. That'll solve all your demographic issues. Don't worry, Jord. Your white race will be preserved in an incubator. You can grow all the white little itty bitty children that you like at fucking will. You don't have to worry about your women running off with the next mandem. But as far as men's solutions at the moment, I think young men, I wouldn't 100% encourage young men to stay away from women. Certainly don't get married. Don't have them move in with you. You want to have women? There's women on Tinder all day long. Swipe right, my friend, all day long. Do not get married. Do not let them move in with you. 2 critical rules that you should follow. I know you can't control the beast. I know your hormones will rage away. That hormone monster will drive you mad to the point where you want to put a drill through your brain just to stop him from screaming at you. But if you want to have sex, do not get married. Do not let them move in with you, and do not get them pregnant. That's another critical rule. Make sure that those those condoms are locked and loaded. Do not get them pregnant. Do not get married. Do not let them move in with you. 100. These are like the absolute rules of the thing. Dating sites are full of nutters. Yeah, but Simon, it is what it is. You do it. You jump on them. You hump their brains out, and you get off. It's the roller coaster. And believe me, feminism, now this is the other advantage of feminism. Feminism has literally told women to have casual sex with men, and men are not even, or the society is not even allowed to sufficiently shame them for it. Do not slut shame the ladies. Do not slut shame the ladies. Let them have sex as much as they want. They can have polyamorous and amorous and monoamorous, whatever the fuck it is. They can be zers, they can be theys, they can be whatever the fuck they want. You can have, and they can go out and ride that cock carousel. Now, I'll be honest, if you're a man of not, if the genetic lottery hasn't blessed you with good looks, then you're gonna have to build some muscles, and you're gonna have to somehow, get there. But there's plenty of women that will like you the way you are. I know some people are too short, some people are too tall. Women always want tall men. You will find, if you're 5'9", 5'8", go for 5'4" women. You'll always be taller than them. They want a taller man than them, but they don't necessarily need a 7-foot fucking behemoth. So go and find 5'5" women. If you're a 6-foot man, then you've got a plethora of choices. Of course, your choices increase and decrease depending on some of your physical attributes. But as far as if you're just aiming to quell the beast within you, that monster between your legs, then quell the beast. You're not looking at relationships, you're not looking at long-term shit, you're looking at quelling the beast. Personally, I would legalize prostitution myself, because I think it's a noble profession that all women should aspire to, especially feminists. And so men, again, don't step away from the plantation, step away from the norms that society is trying to squeeze you into, and do not fall for their shaming tactics. Women's number one shaming tactic of a man is, I bet you can't get any. I bet you can't get any. I bet you're so ugly, you'll never get a girl. That's the first thing they go for, like as if your worth is only measured by the woman at your side. Your worth is not measured by the woman at your side. Your worth is measured by who you are and the content of your character and who you strive to be in your life. That's how your worth is measured. Not by the woman on your side, not how much pussy you can get. Don't ever make the mistake of thinking that your worth is linked to a pound of pussy, because it's not. You are better than that. As a man, you are bigger than that, and you should be far, far more intelligent about that. So don't think that you're just connected to a pound of pussy. That is not your worth, and don't let any woman, or any man for that matter, shame you in regards to that. If you're single, be proud and just follow the feminists if you want to get laid. I want to have a trad lady. Oh my god, my age. That's happy-go-lucky. Well, the thing is, traditional ladies, Simon, I'm sorry, you guys are in the wrong part of the world if you want traditional ladies. Now, I myself have exclusively, or not exclusively, but have moved my attention towards the more Eastern women. In my case, some Middle Eastern women, because that is my heritage, but also Eastern Europeans. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm not looking for an English feminist woman. I'm not looking for not even if a woman says I'm not a feminist, she has the feminist agendas still engraved into her brain. She still has absorbed subconscious feminism. All women in this country are feminists to some extent. To find traditional women is ridiculous. Even people like Laura Towler, people think she's a trad, she's a tradition. She's not. She's not. She's a feminist. She works. She's active in her little career. I bet her husband, if her husband turns around and says, no, let's cut all of this activism bullshit out. You just sit and you cook and clean. I go and make the money, and we'll just do it that way. We just concentrate on our family lives. No more Towler teas. No more Towler PA fucking promotions. No more YouTube. No more social media. We're gonna cut that shit out. We're gonna raise kids, and we're gonna live our lives and die in this state. Go and tell Laura Towler about that. Go and put that in front of her on the table and see how much of a traditional woman she really is. You want to press these trad women in this society? Go and actually press them, and then you will expose them for how much of a feminist they actually are and how much of a traditional woman they actually aren't. They're not. There are no women that were born and raised in this country that are traditional women anymore. Feminism has seeped into their brain from childhood, from kindergarten. That's how feminism has infiltrated this society. There's no way you're going to find yourself your traditional woman anymore. Not in this country. Not in this country. Maybe in Russia, maybe in Ukraine or Eastern Europe, maybe in some I don't know, not Europe, maybe Spain, maybe Greece, perhaps. I don't even think there. I think the best chances for me, I mean, from my perspective, is the Middle East, Far East. Those are the places where you might have some chances. By the way, those are still rare. In those places, you will find that even in China, the feminists are all over it. Japan, certainly. South Korea, for sure. You may get lucky with some Vietnamese. You may get lucky with some, like, what's it called? Cambodians. That's Southeast Asia. In the Middle East, I would say in the Middle East at the moment, the honeypot is probably in the Middle East. Now, you may be dealing with Islam, but because of Islam, ironically, that's where you will find the motherlode of more traditional women. Because women are not going to be raised with feminism, especially those in the rural areas. Certainly, I mean, some in the cities for sure. In Iran, I can tell you the cities are full of fucking feminists. But in the rural areas, you want to find straight down the middle, child-bearing, child-rearing women. Right there. There's you got guaranteed. And as I said, in possibly Iraq, maybe in Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Emirate nations, possibly too. But as far, and India, yeah, I would say India, Pakistan. But when it comes to, as you move ever further west, forget it. City women, forget it. If you're even going for a woman who's out in the Far East, and she lives in a big city, she comes from a large city, it's a red flag. There are some serious red flags there. I'm not joking. I talked to a guy back in 2016 who was a pilot in Australia, an Iranian who was a commercial pilot, like your Boeing 747s and whatever. He was a very wealthy man. He was, he had his own house, fully paid for, everything, life all set up. His strategy was to marry a woman from either Vietnam or Thailand or somewhere like that, but he would not live with her in Australia. He would move out to that location, Thailand, Laos, whatever, Cambodia, and they would live there. Because he says if you bring them back to the West, they will adopt the Western values of feminism and all of that shit, and that will ruin them. And also the divorce courts in the West obviously will favor her, so she will figure that shit out and she will fuck you over eventually. So when you do get married, go and live with them out into those nations, because the laws and the divorce laws of these nations are gonna fuck you up. Jord, every time you want to tell a young white boy to go and get married to have white children, first explain to them divorce courts and divorce law. Because unless you do that, unless you sort out the divorce situation in Britain and in Western countries, then how can you possibly expect a man to deal with that? How can you expect them to gamble their life like that and play Russian roulette with that? Because, as I said, watch this man's comments. This guy, I'll just play the beginning of this clip if people missed it. But this is the man. This is what happens to your men, even when they're married and they've got children and they do all the right things.
She had been diagnosed with panic disorder. She wasn't taking her medication. She was out of town. And she had called the police on this particular day, March 5th, 2015, and she'd asked them to come to the house. I'd actually taken the afternoon off. I was at home with my sons, playing in the playroom with them. And she asked them to come to the house and said that I was confused. And the dispatch said, we can't go to the house if he's confused. She said, well, what do you need to hear? And they said, we need to hear he's a threat to himself or the children. And then allegedly sometime later, I think 45 seconds later, she called them back and said, she said, my husband's just told me, quote, I'm sick of this shit. I'm gonna harm the children, end quote. And those 10 words, that 10-word lie was the basis of law enforcement coming. First it was 2 to my front door, then it was 3, then it was 5 and a sergeant, and the massing garrison, the threshold of my home, without cause, without a warrant.
So yeah, I'd just like to end it on that. Actually, that's the best good bit to end it on. So yeah, if you ethno-nationalists who want to save your race from extinction, fix that shit first, then talk to your men about having children and having marriage, because as long as that shit exists, I don't recommend any man to get married. Remember the rules of MGTOW: never get married, never let them move in with you, and don't get them pregnant. Those are critical rules that you should follow. And that's all I have to say for today. Ciao.